You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. What up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. I'm your boy, Al Mega. Welcome, one and all. I'm so happy to have this amazing creator right now. I mean, this person has had a long journey, right? And he has worked with the top notch. I mean, Image, Dark Horse, Boom, Marvel, DC. I mean, we've been everywhere. And he actually has a brand new, amazing project that's just coming up, on the crowdfunding side on Kickstarter called RDW. We're going to learn all about that and who he is. Who am I talking about? It's the one and only Marco Rudy. What's going on, kiddo? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm struggling with that here, but
yeah, as we know, man, this cat was about to knock down the door. Make sure it's not an alien like from the Cap. That's not the one from Captain Marvel, right? The whole species.
Hope not. This is a little less troublesome, I suppose.
So what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Energized as heck. Yeah, I know. How the hell can somebody be so energized on a Tuesday? This is what I do, right? So, let people know, brother. I mean, who are you, man? Where you from, kiddo? Look how cute.
I am from Mozambique, and this guy is gonna have to leave the office now because he wants to roam around and eat cables. So, 1 second.
Don't you love cats? Folks? It's what they want to do. And mine is coming too now. And I swear to God, she just opened the door.
Yeah. I think they're mounting a strategy here to be a part of, to take over the podcast. So I'm from Mozambique, which is a country in the southern part of the continent of Africa. I have been in the comic book industry for the better part of 15, 16 years.
Now 15, 16, holy smokes. Wow.
Yeah.
You look quite a young man to be in the journey that long.
It's just the genetics.
It's genetics. Awesome. Yeah. So talk about the fandom, man. So did you grow up in Mozambique?
Yeah, I lived there. I left Mozambique when I was 19, and
19.
I've only been there back only on vacations ever since then. But I studied away in Brazil for 10 years, and after Brazil, I moved to Canada, which I've been in Canada for 10 years.
Oh wow!
So it's been quite a journey.
So, how did you get into pop culture? Was it through comics, movies, cartoons?
Yeah, for earlier beginning, we would get in Mozambique, we would get a lot of books sent out of like charity. We would I think my dad had a contact with the charity or whatever. We would just go to this place in the port where they had containers of like books that were shipped. We would
containers.
Like literally that. We would just go to the containers and pick whatever book we wanted. And
for free?
Yeah. So,
oh my God! I'll be like, take this container home, Dad.
Well, we had it was charity.
I understand.
They would then basically we would have not the first stand. We would just go and check in these containers if there was something that we wanted. And I started reading French comic books, French bande dessinée through that.
Okay.
And I think after a while, I think I was about like 7 or 8. It was a combination of things. A friend of mine had the first issue of X Factor,
nice.
Like the classic X Factor with the initial 5, the X5. And later that month or something, my cousin brought from Portugal the third or fourth issue of the Chris Claremont and Frank Miller's Wolverine miniseries.
Oh, nice!
And that was super iconic. It got me hooked. So I was already interested in the French side of comics, and then that immediately got me into the American side, and I have been hooked ever since.
Oh, excellent. So how long did you find a tribe, if you will, in your community? Did you have a group of friends? Was it? No.
No, in fact, it took me to getting to Canada to go to Toronto, that was like, all right, this is what I was looking for. Because in Mozambique, there wasn't this. In fact, there's probably isn't still. There wasn't this culture of comic books or whatever. No, not at all. In fact, I remember once returning after I've been working in comics and whatever, like some I don't know, 8 years ago or something. I went back and I was talking to somebody, and they were telling me, "Oh, you're still working on that? I thought you had grown up." I'm like, "Yeah."
What? Growing up? Ew.
So it was still not seen as an actual job. So basically, that wasn't present in my growing up. That kind of camaraderie or sense of community with comics. No, it wasn't there. In Brazil, there was a little bit. In fact, the reason why I started working on comics was whilst I was studying in architecture in Brazil, some of my teachers were nerds, and they would see that I would put lots of references to comics like Spider-Man, Batman, Godzilla, or whatever in whatever architectural project that I would do. So they kept encouraging me, "Why don't you work in comics?" And for me, it was one of those things that I never thought that I could do, because it was always Americans, British people, even Brazilian people.
Yes.
But it was not something that you'd see, "Oh, there's an African guy here." Like, I'd never seen one before, ever. So I never thought that I could be featured. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
And so eventually I opened up a DeviantArt account, and through that I got my first gig in comics. But it was still, even nowadays.
How did you find DeviantArt though?
A friend of mine from college was like,
"Friend,
hey,
don't you love friends?"
Yeah, it was like, "Hey, I have an account in this thing. You should probably put your artwork in there." I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
So you weren't scared to put up your artwork there. You just went for it. Like, all right.
Yeah, it was something like I really have nothing to lose if I post my artwork here. And I found community, like an online community on there. Mm-hmm. And as I said, my first week in Toronto, bearing in mind that when I moved to Toronto, I was already a published comic book artist. I was already working for DC. I already had a exclusive contract with DC at the time.
So we're running forward there. Let's talk about this. I mean, so here you are. You formed a Deviant account,
yeah.
And you said you landed your first, job.
Yeah,
how was that? How did you land it?
Like the first week that I posted my artwork on DeviantArt, I had this guy in Brazil.
First week?
Yeah.
Get out. Holy shit.
Guy asking me about, I have this thing. And we worked on a few concepts. And as this guy is talking to me, I was still posting artwork there. Another guy, Canadian guy, comes to me and says, "All right, I have a project, and I have this way into image shadow line. And would you want to participate in this project?" So this was then a real gig that I did. It took me like from my DeviantArt, from posting my first stuff on DeviantArt to getting a gig. It was like, I don't know, like 2-3 years that I talked to people and whatever, and working on the developing this project. So after that, we got this gig, a miniseries called Corrective. No. First, it was a miniseries called Corrective Measures that it was a very minor thing, and then it was this gig that I mentioned about the Canadian guy. Yeah. And that got out through Image Shadow Line. It was a 3-issue miniseries that I did, and that was, I think, 2006. Yeah, okay. That was my very first published gig. And nice. After that, I found I don't know if you're familiar with Rafael Albuquerque.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Hell yeah.
So it just so happens that I was living in the same city that he was living on. Okay. And I saw an interview that he did about his studio. I was like, it was like a really, really nice coincidence that I was at the time looking for gigs and whatnot, and I see on TV this guy talking about this studio on the same city. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go to the studio. So I went to him to talk to him, and I enrolled in the studio. I was with him for 2007 and in 2008. And at the end of 2008, I met other people in the, like I went to a festival, comic book festival in Brazil, met other people.
Were comics big in Brazil? The festival, if you will.
Yeah, they're huge.
Wonderful.
It's a different take, but the industry of comics is it's pretty big in Brazil. So I then got in touch with like somebody got me in touch with DC Comics, and like from sending samples to getting a gig to DC Comics in 2008, it was like 2-3 weeks. And I got a gig in what's the name? It was the Final Crisis. I was
Oh, nice. Yes.
Immediately thrust into the wilderness with Final Crisis, which was the event at the time at DC. And from then on, that's it. I worked with DC for like, I think, exclusive 3 years, but it was a 5-year span that I worked with them, and then I moved to Marvel again on a kind of like a 4-year span. But I was freelancing, so I did other stuff on the side, and ever since I left DC, I've been freelancing, and that's it. Like eventually, I just went up to do my own stuff, and I'm still freelancing.
So are you enjoying the freelance journey as opposed to having that?
Well, I mean, being an exclusive to a company grants you security of a job, and you know that you're gonna get your bills paid all the time.
Yeah.
Freelance allows you the freedom to choose how are you going to tackle certain projects, but you will be sure that if you're not I could say that I'm an established name in the industry, but I have been on rough patches of time where gigs were not coming, and then other gigs were coming that I couldn't take, or very well paying gigs were happening. So you juggle all of that. As a freelancer, you have to juggle all of that.
Gotcha, man. So, what was it that, inspired you though, to take that creative journey? What was the initial inspiration, that spark that said, okay, I really want to do this?
I mean, I never had that. That's just the thing. It was so out there to think that I could work in comic books. I'm from Mozambique, man. Like, that is not something you aspire to be. I joke about that. I could aspire to be an engineer at NASA. Being in Mozambique, that's a reality that I could aspire to be. But one in which I draw Spider-Man for Marvel, it's just, it never happened.
Yeah, so, talking about niche, right?
Yeah. So when it started happening, I remember actually when I read the email in which I had gotten the gig at DC, I was in a library. I was in a university library.
Oh, God. They were telling you to shush, I'm sure.
No, I'm shouting. I was shouting, yes! And people were like, what the fuck? I'm like, I don't care. I don't care, man.
Like, hey, shut up. I got F you. I'm with DC.
Pretty much. So,
nice.
I can say that I have artists especially after I started working in the industry and I got to know more about storytelling and whatnot. There are creative inspirations, of course, but this is not a dream that I had. This is not something that I ever aspired to do, because I never thought it would be possible. So I am living a dream that I didn't have, but I'm very happily living that dream.
I hear that, man, because now, here you've worked with the big two, right? Yeah. Now you're doing freelance.
Yeah.
And now you even have a new creator own project already funded at that. And we still have some time, I believe, I mean.
No, the book was funded last year. The campaign was funded last year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was done 4/24. That's my birthday.
Oh.
Look at that. So RDW, let's show people what this is, because you have an awesome little trailer. So let's show.
This is from last year, but yeah,
sure. It is, but let's show it different, because I want people to know, because
awesome.
This is great, because again, I want people to see, listen, again, it's also support of indie. You're freelance, you're independent now. DC, Marvel, fantastic stuff. But you listen, prove how, this is showing how much more creative you are. You know, they were holding you down, bro.
Thank you.
So let me put this up. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. You know technology, man.
It's all good.
All right, so let's do it.
Hi there. My name is Marco Rudy, and this is my cat, Leo. Cat is here to make it really cute, so you can keep it. So this is a problem. Thank you. Well, I am a comic book artist. I have been a storyteller since I was a kid. I'm from Mozambique, and in Mozambique, when I was growing up, we would have a lot of power outages. And one of the things that we used to do is to huddle around the candle and tell stories until the power got back. That would be my time to shine. The mundane thing, I'll try to make a little more fantastical. I would try to goad the audience to join me in the story. I try to make the story, the act of storytelling, a little more interactive. Which brings us to this book, to this video. I've been a comic book artist, I've been a penciler, I've been an inker, I've been a painter, and now with this book, I have the opportunity to become as well a writer. I mean, I've written before, but this is the first time that I would try to publish this. The title RDW, or A Rainy Day Woman, is based off a Bob Dylan song that talks about addiction. While that may come into play in the story, it is also a story about being accepted, how the world reacts to you when your behavior is not the most acceptable. And at the same time, while the book will definitely take us to some dark places, it is also like an opportunity to shed some light on folk stories and cultures that we're not usually seeing on fantasy books. Mozambican, African in general, First Nations of the Americas, a variety of folk cultures here, and of course, we will have the traditional Western elements of elves, dwarves, and whatnot. This initial volume is just the beginning of our adventure. This will go far and wide. This first book is 40 pages. I have 4 pages painted, and this book helped me paint and print it out. I already did book 2, all plotted rigid and printed, 45 pages. Now this will just be 60 pages. And the rest of the production, we will see if it will happen if this first one gets funded. This is where you come. Throughout my years in the industry, I have developed a particular way of storytelling. While you focus on your traditional panel 1, 2, 3 on the page, I tend to use the layout to enhance a little bit of the storytelling, to invite you, the reader, to be part of the experience of reading the book and telling the story. While the action side is fine and well, I like the idea of if you can set the mood with the layout. You look at the image, there's a lot of information there that can enhance the story that you're experiencing. That kind of interactive storytelling that I was telling you about that when I was a kid. And this time it's on a page and painted. Obviously, I want to be able to tell this story to the best of my ability without any compromise. We will be in our communication as I produce this book at the same time. I would have never been able to fund this book on my own. That's why I'm trying to get this will take a while, and I know that it's a huge ask for you to support the project that will only be done a year from now. But this will allow me to continue to dedicate myself and be able to hear the best project. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you make this
Wow. Jesus Christ, is that beautiful art or what, folks? Jesus Christ. And bro, you decided to start writing on top of already everything you do?
Yeah.
So talk about that. What really pushed you to do that? You know, from coming from an artist and all.
I mean, I suppose that once you start dealing with this industry or whatever, whichever, there's always a story you want to tell. I think they get to a point that there's a story that you want to tell. And actually, for the beginning, what had happened was I went to Marvel offices in 2016. I was talking to then editor-in-chief Axel Alonso, and he just flat out told me, if you want to pitch something, pitch. So I pitched a couple of stories. I actually created a pitch for the Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu because he's one of my favorite characters. And because I was very keen on not being a writer, I asked a friend of mine who had worked with me on the Doctor Strange, Frank Barbieri, to write like a little short story so I could draw, so we can pitch to Marvel. The thing was that as I was doing this, I kept editing. Like we could change the scene here, we could change the scene there, and whatnot. And he was like, "Why don't you just write it? I can
write it, right? Jesus Christ.
I can help you out here and there. Why don't you write it?" And as we were doing that, I started talking to him about a potential pitch to Image, which it was what eventually became this story. Okay. But we're going on back and forth with that, and he kept encouraging me to write. And he then took a pretty big gig in the gaming, so he couldn't help me out. So he's like, "I guess you're on your own now."
Oh wow!
And I just thanked him. I'm like, "All right, let's go." And that was it. That's how I started. I started writing again. I started writing this in 2016, and it evolved and whatnot. I drew it and wrote it around a year or 2 years, and then I started shopping it around. I started working on the sequel. I wrote the sequel. I wrote the third book. I plotted like this is all plotted out and whatnot. But after pitching it around and getting a lot of maybes, I figured a lot of people have been trying to do this via crowdfunding. Why not? So I tried my own crowdfunding experiment, and it worked. And here we are today. Basically, today I am shipping the books that were, as you can see, the boxes there.
Hey, that's right. Look at you selling out those shipping, folks. You see, you're getting your product, man. You're getting your product.
I'm shipping the remainders of the pledges from the campaign. And I have the book available for purchase, physical and digital as well. So we've come a long way, I suppose, since my first pitch of Shang-Chi that didn't go anywhere.
Shang-Chi. Since you mentioned that Shang-Chi is your favorite, did you watch the film? And what
I haven't watched it yet, but I will. I just haven't had a chance.
You will love it. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Fun movie for sure.
I am a big fan of the 70s take on the character. Big fan.
Oh, absolutely. Me too, man. I mean, that's the OG.
Yeah. And it's because that vibe is essentially James Bond with the Chinese vibe around it. I really liked it, and the supporting cast. Like there's Nick Fury nowadays is like the badass black guy with the eye patch, but back in the day there was another one, and he was one of the
do we dare call him White Fury?
Yeah. So they're like just the supporting cast, and I like the pitch that I had with the pitch that I had for Marvel was something like that. It was focused on the 70s vibe and the 70s vibe.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I mean, that's what we need, man. I'm digging the vibe. So if not, form your own characters and bring us that 70 vibe and the Rudy.
Oh yeah. Well, since that's not going to happen, that story, whatever I can drink from that and put on my book, it'll be featured.
Oh yeah, man. Let's do it, kiddo. I mean, so what's up your sleeve right now? I mean, can we anticipate any brand new projects other than you shipping these books? These final books, those amazing backers.
immediately what I have to do is to ship these books, and to whomever whomever buys the book, I'm shipping it to them as well. But early next year, I'm starting to ironing all the kinks on book 2, so I can do a campaign for book
Wonderful.
2 and see if we could get funded as well.
Wonderful. And are you doing any conventions?
That will largely depend on safety measures.
Okay.
So if safety measures are in place and everything's fine, yeah, because I haven't done any convention since C2E2 last year at the beginning of the year.
Oh, wow.
Which
Gotcha.
was the beginning of the pandemic. So, and that was my last convention.
Gotcha, man. Do you miss the convention? Are you feeling?
I do. It's like the direct contact with fans is something that you cannot replace. And some of the American shows that I've done were very, very surprising. I did like a few you would call smaller shows in comparison to whatever C2E2. And the people are great, the fans are great, and you get a good return. So it's a good thing that is sorely missed. It's just the event itself is so sorely missed. So I hope I would hope that by this time we would not be talking about safety measures over pandemics. And here we are. But again, if that's in place, yes, I would welcome the chance to do more shows. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. And I do want to mention that I did speak to a creator recently, because you're speaking that you are of African descent. I actually spoke to a Nigerian comic book creator that has his own imprint in West Africa called Brown Roof Studios. And he was one of those that said, well, I was pitching, but I might as well just do it by myself. And then he started looking for all the local talent in West Africa and Africa in general. So I was like, wow. So I see so many. I see like Brazil, obviously amazing talent. Italy, amazing talent. And I see now that I think in Africa we're gonna start seeing a huge rise in talent, because there's so much mythology there.
Yeah.
I mean, tons that I haven't even been touched yet.
Yeah.
So it's so I can't wait for the American public to be able to enjoy those mythologies. I have a personal friend as well that does West African. He goes futurist type storylines. Yeah, Afrofuturism, beautiful stuff, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, and I dig it. Why not? I mean, it's time people. This is just alternate stories, folks, and just see it from other eyes. What's the big deal? It's awesome stuff. I mean, are we gonna get any Afrofuturism from you or what?
Absolutely. I mean, not necessarily Afrofuturism, but one of the things that I'm doing with the stories that I'm telling is that I am using the general known fantasy tropes of elves, dragons, whatever.
Yeah.
But all of them are not, I wouldn't say inspired, but they are drinking from other types of folklore. Not necessarily just the one that we know, because the Tolkien is like Celtic and Norse folklore and whatnot. Whereas I have that, but like just as an example, my visual representation of elves, they have an element of and I can't quite remember exactly which specific region in Central Africa that has the humanoid creatures that are leopards, and they have
really.
Yeah. So whereas obviously my elves don't have 3 heads, but they have feline characteristics that are inspired by this type of but by this specific folklore. So I have, like, throughout the story that I'm telling, I have bits and pieces that are bits of folklore from Mozambique, from the places in Brazil that I lived in, from Canada. So I drink from like bits and pieces here and there that if you are familiar, if you're from these places, you're definitely gonna recognize pieces here and there. If you're
Nice.
familiar with these stories, if you're not, it's just a weird take on elves, a weird take on and you're like, yeah, whatever. It's just this story that has these.
But I mean, really, I mean, elves weird take. I mean, I think there can be no weird take on elves. You know, that definitely
Yeah.
can be left up to interpretation because God only knows what they really look like.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's that.
I mean, so if homies right here, and we see some leopard spotted elves over here. I mean, all right, well, now we know what's popping over here.
Yeah.
Marco was right. Holy smokes. Yeah, I would love to see that, bro. So, this project that you're working on, I always love to ask this question. If you had a choice to make it an animated feature or a feature film,
Yeah.
what type of approach would you prefer to go?
Initially, I would not take any because I would be I always say that I will die a very poor artist because of my poor marketing decisions. But the initial idea is that this book, especially the way that I tell a story, in which the layout is inviting you to interact with the book, like it is almost interactive, because if you're looking at a page or a sequence and you start finding the little nuggets that I put in the layout, in the design, or the color choices that I make, you will get a better picture, and maybe the story will get a different meaning than the one you're getting if you're just reading the panel to panel stuff. So by doing that, I am inviting the reader to do something, to interact with that. So that's what I'm saying. So I would rather have it just like that. The closest I could get to any type of that kind of conversation between the spectator and the artwork that I'm putting out would be an animated feature or an animated something,
or a motion comic, even maybe.
Yeah. So
a motion comic would probably be more powerful based on how you just explained it.
So should I ever venture into that, I would probably go into an animated stuff. But as it is, I'd keep it as a comic book.
Gotcha. So you just want to right now it's comics. Let's focus on this work.
Yeah, these are graphic novels. They're ideally they're supposed to be read in a physical, because the flipping of the page.
I know. Thank you. I understand. Thank you. Putting physical books in our hands for people not to stare at a screen.
However, obviously there is a digital edition of the book, and because I know that it's way more convenient to have a digital files on your Kindle so you can read it, I'm aware that people will venture through that, and it's fine. I mean, if you want to read the book digitally, read it digitally, and it's fine. As long as you enjoy it, as long as you get something out of it, I'm happy with that.
Excellent. So what else do we have in store? I mean, anything else popping off in the Rudyverse that our fans need to be aware of today? I've been sharing, man. I mean, obviously, follow you on the Twitterverse, right?
Yeah.
What's on the Gumroad? What's this about?
It's where I'm selling the book. I have the two versions of the book, the digital and the physical edition. They're available for anybody that wants to buy it, and it ships anywhere.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. And that's the specific page there, I would suppose, correct?
No, that's just another alternative for anybody that wants to get the book. It's that's digital.
Oh, he's pimping it everywhere, folks. See, and you say you have poor marketing skills. You're putting your stuff in all the right places.
I'm trying. Let's see if it gets attention. The book was only out like last Wednesday, so it's fairly recent.
Well, that's amazing, though. So good for you, man. Congrats, having it out, man. I can't wait to start seeing all those wonderful, positive, loving reviews of the final product. Hey, hopefully you're a boss, bro. Come on, man. Come on, you just do like that. You're a boss. You're killing it. You've been amazing, bro. I mean, you work with so many different amazing characters in your career. Before we go, I want to ask, what's the most favorite character from the big two that you've worked on?
I mean, that I worked on.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man. I mean, when I did the Spider-Man Marvel Knight Spider-Man, I would pinch myself every now and then. I'm like, I'm working on Spider-Man. This is just, I never thought that I would do that. So yeah, but I did a cover for for the Silver Surfer, and I told Tom Brevoort I told Tom Brevoort that, like, I mean, it's the least I could do. I would have loved to have worked on a Silver Surfer book, because I think it's my favorite character, or my favorite Marvel
Really
character.
nice.
But now that I'm working on my terms on characters and stories that I created, I would continue doing that. I mean, should I ever get the chance to work on any of those characters and write a story for them? Yeah, sure.
Oh, hell
But
yeah.
as it is, I'm content to telling my own stories.
Excellent. And let me tell you, man, I wasn't big on the Silver Surfer like as a kid, but then when I started watching the cartoon, remember the series?
Yeah,
I was like, yo, it was great.
Big Kirby vibe, that cartoon. Very
Oh, hell yeah, bro. That's exactly who they were feeding from. That was a fantastic series. And then you have guys, if you have not watched this Silver Surfer cartoon, that's Silver Surfer done, in a great way.
Underrated. It's very underrated.
Absolutely.
I would say that the Silver Surfer cartoon and the Hulk series are pretty underrated.
Yeah, the 90s, right? Because you had the short-lived 80s one too from the Hulk, which is okay, but the 90s one was fire, yo.
That was like cartoon, like the horror. It was horror for kids, and it was very well plotted. It was well written. It was a good show. It's just that people didn't get to watch it. Just that.
Yeah, and the Fantastic Four
was more famous, and to be honest, it was a better series. But that Hulk series was pretty underrated. It was pretty good.
And even Fantastic Four was a good series.
Yeah.
I mean, they had good stuff in the 90s, and again, it was just that X-Men was just that good that it just overshadowed everything.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
I mean, they're coming back with the comic books right now.
Yeah, I know.
With the series.
Well, they're coming back with. Aren't they doing like another season, like a X-Men 97 or something?
Yes, they are. Yeah. One more season. I mean, as a fan, Marco, let me ask you: do you think, bringing that back now, do you think they will do it justice? Are you hesitant? Are you for it?
I mean, to be honest, the show was so good that obviously, while I don't know if it's the same writing people, if anything, if the show is bringing attention, if this new season is bringing attention to the show as it was, awesome. Because I think it's that good. It's just simple as that. There are a bunch of shows nowadays that harpen on nostalgia, and for me, it's like this: if they are bringing new people towards these old stuff and getting that old stuff some due justice and due attention, great. I would love it. I would love it if they would do that for X-Men Evolution, for instance, because I also think Evolution, it ends on an extremely awesome cliffhanger. Like, and then there's no more.
No renewal, right? You're like, you mother effers. But
it's like, it was a great show. I understand that Wolverine and the X-Men show kind of hints that that could have been a continuation of that. But still, I would have wanted also an X-Men Evolution show. And a lot of the writers that worked, I think they worked on some of the X-Men, the animated show, and the X-Men Evolution show. They wrote. Well, no. I'm conflating two, because Goliath, Gargoyles. The people that wrote and directed Gargoyles, they do that. They do Young Justice, and the themes that are featured in Gargoyles are featured in Young Justice, and they're done very, very well. So, like, I would say for old school people that loved Gargoyles and wish there were more, you can watch Young Justice. And for new school people that are curious about what is this Gargoyles thing, if you like Young Justice, you will love Gargoyles.
Agreed, yo. That's a great comparison, and definitely, yo, this Young Justice season has been amazing.
Great. Great.
Holy shit! I mean, you have young fans and old fans. I mean, on my team, I have people of all ages, and both young and old are like, "Holy smokes! This goddamn season has me affected."
Like I remember when the 2011 Thundercats show came about, and people were bitching about, because it's not the old stuff. And the thing is,
that was a great fucking show.
It's super underrated. So I watched that show and I loved the original Thundercats show. Like I love the original Thundercats show, but I can tell you the way they work on the origin story, the way they make the plot work, it's better.
Character development
than the original Thundercats show.
Character development, man.
Exactly. There is actual character development. Yeah, I like nostalgically. I like the old school Thundercats show, but I can tell you that just plot wise and character wise, I'm not even going to talk about the animation. Just that it's better.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if these new shows are bringing new people towards the old school stuff, awesome, great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned that. You mentioned nothing about Thundercats Roar. I
haven't seen it, so I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know. It was the cartoony thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, no.
I haven't seen it, so I really, really don't know.
It's gonna hurt the feelings of your Thundercats, especially after that 2011. Like you said, I completely agree with you there as well. Completely underrated, fantastic show. It's like right now, even with the Masters of the Universe that Kevin Smith did. I think that this Revelations is fantastic.
I love
it. All of this episode, season 1. Here goes to season 2. Yeah, shut the fuck up, people. He did such a great job.
I want to watch the season. I haven't watched it just because I haven't had the chance to. Bro, but I will.
Look at myself right there.
I loved the. Oh man, I know that this is not a very famous take on. But I love that people were like, "Oh, the Massive Universe," but He-Man is not in there. I love that because the show was the Masters of Universe. It was something else. The first thing that they did, bye He-Man. I thought it was brilliant, and it wasn't something we're just gonna do away with the character because there's a story around it, and it pays off in the end. So I thought it was great, and I'm looking forward to watching the season 2, which is available. So I'm just gonna watch it.
Yeah, just watch it. I mean, I binged it. I loved it. I was shocked and awed. Great stuff. I mean, I'm not a Kevin Smith fan. I said this on the show with my friend. Yeah. I'm not the biggest Kevin Smith fan. I'm just not. But he did a wonderful job here. So much of a wonderful job. If you look at my shelf right there. I got my Skeletorus from the show. And the OG retro one.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I love villains. Damn it. Great job, Kev. No, but you know what? You know who really does a great job? It's you, bro. Because you worked hard in the industry. You've been around. You work with big names, big characters. Like, it's just an amazing journey you've had. So bless you on that, bro. And I could only wish you nothing but, for the success, especially as you take on the indie universe and know that Comic Crusaders is your home. So anything you ever have, just bring it on over, Marco. We got your back 150%, bro. Yeah, because this is just me giving you your flowers, bro. Because a lot of people don't hear this, often. But just honestly, thank you for putting your out there, being that brave and bold to share of yourself. That's just some real truth, man. Thank you for what you do and entertaining us and me and all of us in the comic book universe. You effing rock. So I only want the best for you.
By the way, don't mind my busted up hoodie. It's just that this is the stuff that I wear when I paint. So
it's your lucky hoodie. That's all.
It's like busted up everywhere. It's got paint everywhere. So, but it was just because I was doing a commission.
So when you get tired of it, sign it and just eBay that shit. I'm sure somebody will buy it. Your lucky hoodie.
This thing has history because this is the first thing that I bought on DeviantArt when I opened my account before I started working in comics. So this thing is I have this in 2003.
Oh damn! It's your lucky sweater for real.
Oh yeah.
So long as it's your sweater, not your underwear, since 2003.
Oh no,
we're in good shape.
But I was just looking. I'm like super busted up. Like, it's just because I was painting. Just that.
No worries, but hey man, I got my hoodie too. Even though I'm in Florida, I mean, I got a hoodie because my garage actually feels cool today, which I love. I miss New York. Let me tell you, I need that cold weather.
Yeah.
So with that, folks, again, I appreciate you guys tuning in today. Check it out. I need you to follow Marco on Twitter, Marco_Rudy. Please visit his Gumroad. Now, how do you, what is it?
Chicandarinha.
What?
Chicandarinha. It's a name.
Chicandarinha.
It's a Mozambican name for a kettle.
For a kettle?
Yeah.
Wow, I'd rather say kettle. Would they understand me? Because if I say this shit, I'm just going to fuck it up all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's awesome. But I love that you actually throw your heritage into that. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I'm happy. It's like, in recent podcasts, I've now had 2 African creators. Wow. I love it. I love it.
Here's to more of that.
Yes. Cheers to that, bro. From your mouth to God's ears, bro, to allow creative talents from all over the world to, hopefully just, be exposed and bring on the greatness. And again, folks, if you want to do that, if you know somebody, an amazing international artist, writer that you think needs to have a voice somewhere, bring them over. Bring over the home right here. Absolutely. All right? This is what we do. But again, follow Marco, do everything. My Comic Crusaders, you know what to do. Everything is in my outro with that. Marco, you've been an absolute pleasure. An honor to have you on. Best wishes, bro. Thank you for your time. And with that, kiddos, hasta la próxima. Later. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.